In a dim medieval library in Prague, a giant book rests under glass. It is taller than a child, weighs more than a man, and requires 2 people just to lift it. This is the Codex Gigas, known to history as the Devil's Bible. Its size alone is intimidating, but the legends that surround it are darker still. For centuries, whispers have claimed it was written in a single night by a desperate monk who bargained away his soul. Whether truth or fable, the Codex Gigas is not just a book, it is a riddle bound in leather. A collision of faith, fear, and mystery that has haunted scholars and storytellers alike. The manuscript was created in the early 13th century in a Benedictine monastery in Bohemia, the heart of medieval Europe. This was an age when books were treasures more valuable than gold, painstakingly copied by hand onto animal skin and guarded by the church. Yet the Codex dwarfed every other manuscript. At over 3 feet tall and nearly 75 kilograms in weight, it is the largest surviving medieval book in the world. To create its nearly 600 pages, the skins of more than 160 animals were needed. The parchment was carefully prepared, sewn into a single binding, and inked with extraordinary consistency. Even more remarkable, every letter appears to have been written by the same steady hand. There are no signs of pauses, no evidence that multiple scribes took turns. Page after page, decade after decade, the handwriting flows with a uniformity that remains one of the Codex's greatest enigmas. Inside, the book offers far more than scripture. Yes, it contains the full Latin Bible, but bound alongside it are medical treatises, local chronicles, calendars of saints, magical formulas, and even instructions for exorcisms. It reads not like a holy book, but like a library compressed into a single volume. Some scholars believe it was meant to be the monastery's crown jewel, an encyclopedia of all knowledge known to its scribes. But others are struck by how unusual some of its contents seem, especially for a Christian monk. The mix of sacred and profane, science and sorcery, gives the Codex its unsettling reputation. At its center lies the image that earned it the title, the Devil's Bible. A full-page illustration shows the devil himself, enthroned in empty space. Unlike most medieval art, which depicts Satan defeated or diminished, here he looms in monstrous form, clawed hands, twisted horns, a grimacing mouth, and greenish skin. His wide, unblinking eyes seem to glare directly at the reader, and across from him, on the facing page, lies a serene vision of heaven, as if the scribe wanted to confront the reader with both extremes of the spiritual world, side by side. Visitors who see the Codex today often describe a shiver when turning to that page, as though the devil still waits inside the book's colossal frame. Over the centuries, legends grew. According to one tale, a monk named Herman the Recluse broke his vows and was sentenced to be walled up alive. To escape death, he promised to create a book that would glorify the monastery forever. When he realized he could not finish the task, he prayed, not to God, but to the devil. In exchange for his soul, the devil completed the manuscript in a single night. To honor the pact, the monk painted the devil's portrait into its pages. Historians dismiss the story as folklore, yet they still puzzle over how such a vast, consistent work could have been completed by a single hand. In an age when lifespans were short and illness common, could one man truly have devoted decades to a single, unbroken task? Modern science has studied the Codex Gigas with relentless precision. Carbon dating confirms its creation in the early 1200s. Analysis of the ink shows a consistency that suggests long-term access to the same materials. Handwriting experts conclude that it was indeed written by one scribe, though over many years rather than in one supernatural burst. Still, the uniformity is uncanny. Few medieval manuscripts match its steadiness, and none rival its size. Some researchers speculate that the scribe may have been unusually skilled, or perhaps working under unusual discipline, compelled by a vow or penance we can only imagine. Theories about its purpose vary. Mainstream historians see it as a monumental act of devotion, perhaps, intended to preserve not just the Bible but all the knowledge, useful to a monastic community, medicine for the body, prayers for the soul, chronicles for identity, and rituals for protection. The devil illustration in this reading was a stark reminder of the dangers of temptation and sin. Others, however, argue the Codex is stranger than it seems. Why include exorcism spells, astrological texts, and magical formulas in the same volume as Holy Scripture? Was the book intended as a universal tool, not just to guide monks in faith, but to protect them against forces both divine and demonic? Beyond scholarship, the Codex Gigas has inspired more speculative ideas. Some claim the book hides codes or secret messages, an encrypted record of forbidden knowledge suppressed by the church. Occult enthusiasts suggest the devil's portrait is not merely symbolic, but represents a ritual invocation. To them, the book's enormous size was intentional, a vessel not just for words, but for power. Though such ideas lack evidence, they persist because the Codex resists simple classification. It is too vast, too strange, too heavy with contradictions to be explained away. Today, the Codex Gigas is preserved in the National Library of Sweden. Visitors come from around the world to see it, marveling at its impossible size and haunting legend. Scholars agree it was the work of human hands, not the devil's. Yet the aura of the supernatural clings to it. To stand before the Codex is to confront both the devotion and the dread of medieval minds who believed the boundaries between heaven and hell were never far away. In the end, perhaps the book's message is not that the devil wrote it, but that humanity itself has always been capable of conjuring both paradise and perdition upon the same page. And as the Codex Gigas closes its heavy covers, we turn to another manuscript, one smaller but perhaps even more baffling. A book filled with strange plants, undecipherable words, and illustrations no one has ever been able to explain. The mystery of the Voynich Manuscript awaits. In 1912, a rare book dealer named Wilfrid Voynich purchased an old chest of manuscripts from a Jesuit library in Italy. Inside, he found a book unlike anything he had ever seen. Its pages were filled with drawings of impossible plants, naked women bathing in strange pools, and charts of stars that did not match our skies. Most unsettling of all was its text, hundreds of pages of flowing script in an alphabet that exists nowhere else on Earth. More than a century later, this book has never been deciphered. To this day, it is known only as the Voynich Manuscript, the world's most mysterious book. The manuscript is believed to date from the early 15th century, around the years 1404 to 1438, based on carbon dating of its parchment. It contains 240 vellum pages, though many more appear to be missing. Written in a script that matches no known language, its flowing letters seem deliberate and consistent, as though recording actual words, not gibberish. The illustrations are divided into sections: botany, astronomy, biology, recipes, and strange circular diagrams that seem to hint at cosmology or magic. Yet none of the plants match any species on Earth, none of the stars form recognizable constellations, and none of the recipes make sense. The book now resides in Yale University's Beinecke Rare Book and Manuscript Library, where it continues to defy explanation. The botanical section shows hundreds of plants, painted in vivid greens and yellows, their roots twisting in impossible shapes. Some resemble real herbs like marigold or lavender, but with unnatural leaves or hybrid flowers never found in nature. The astronomical pages display wheels of zodiac signs surrounded by stars. Yet, their arrangement bears no resemblance to Western or Eastern traditions. The biological section is perhaps the most unsettling. Dozens of nude women, many pregnant, immersed in tubs, and streams connected by elaborate plumbing systems, as if representing a secret ritual of fertility and life. The recipe section lists endless strings of symbols with occasional plant drawings, as though recording the secrets of an unknown alchemy. Whoever created this book had a vision, but one that belonged to a world entirely apart from ours. Over the past century, cryptographers, linguists, and computer scientists have all attempted to decode the Voynich Manuscript. During World War II, the same codebreakers who cracked enemy ciphers tried and failed to solve its script. In recent years, artificial intelligence has analyzed letter frequency, spacing, and structure, concluding that the writing does resemble natural language, but no known tongue. Some suggest it may be an extinct dialect, others that it is an elaborate cipher masking forbidden knowledge. Still others argue it could be a hoax, though the sheer scale and consistency of the manuscript make this unlikely. The ink has been tested and found authentic to the 15th century. The pigments match medieval recipes. Every indication suggests it is genuine. A book someone, at great effort, truly intended to be read. Yet no one can. Mainstream theories hold that the manuscript may be a compendium of herbal medicine, astrology, and ritual from a lost European tradition. Some scholars think it was created by a medieval alchemist, encoding recipes for fear of persecution. Others point to its zodiac imagery and fertility scenes as evidence of a secret cult. Beyond academia, the ideas become stranger. Could the plants be memories of species from another world? Could the text be written in a constructed language, like an early attempt at universal communication? Fringe theorists even claim the book is a relic of extraterrestrial contact. a manual left behind by beings with knowledge beyond our own. While no evidence supports these wilder claims, they thrive because the Voynich resists every attempt at closure. Today, the Voynich Manuscript remains one of the most studied and most mysterious books in history. Despite thousands of hours of research, no one has read a single sentence. It reminds us that human knowledge has limits, that even in our age of supercomputers and algorithms, there are puzzles that remain unsolved. Some see it as a hoax that fooled the world, others as a genuine key to knowledge we have simply lost the ability to understand. Perhaps its greatest power lies not in the secrets it may contain, but in the questions it continues to raise. About language, imagination, and the fragile threads of memory that connect civilizations across centuries. From an unreadable book of strange plants and unknown words, we turn to another puzzle, not of language, but of power. In the deserts near Baghdad, archaeologists uncovered clay jars with copper and iron rods inside. Were they simple vessels, or evidence that electricity was harnessed 2,000 years before modern science? The mystery of the Baghdad Battery is next. In the 1930s, archaeologists excavating near Baghdad uncovered a series of clay jars, unlike anything they expected. Each jar was about 6 inches tall, sealed with bitumen, and contained a copper cylinder with an iron rod inside. At first, they seemed like simple containers, but when researchers examined them more closely, they realized something astonishing. If filled with an acidic liquid, such as vinegar or lemon juice, the jars could produce a small electric charge. The discovery sparked one of the strangest questions in archaeology. Did people in Mesopotamia create batteries more than 2,000 years before modern science? The jars date to the Parthian period, around 200 BCE to 200 CE though. Some argue they may be even older, from the Seleucid or Sassanid dynasties. They were discovered in Kujut Rabu, a village just outside Baghdad, during excavations. Led by Wilhelm Koenig, an Austrian working at the National Museum of Iraq, when he studied them, Koenig realized that the design was almost identical to modern galvanic cells. Copper and iron separated, sealed in a jar, capable of creating an electric current when a liquid was added. His theory electrified the world. Perhaps ancient people had mastered electricity centuries before it was officially discovered. To understand the magnitude of this claim, we need to remember what the Parthian world was like. This was a time of empires, trade routes, and advanced craftsmanship. Artisans were skilled in metallurgy, glassmaking, and complex irrigation systems. They created intricate jewelry and precision tools. But no ancient texts mention electricity, wires, or anything remotely resembling the concept of power as we know it. If these jars were truly batteries, what could they have been used for? Several theories have been proposed. One is that they were used in electroplating, a process in which a thin layer of metal is deposited onto another surface using an electric current. Some ancient artifacts do appear to have unnaturally thin, even coatings of precious metals. Could these jars have powered such a technique? Others suggest they were used for medical purposes, perhaps to deliver small shocks as a form of therapy, since even ancient Greek doctors experimented with electric fish for healing. Still others argue that the batteries could have been ritual objects, their mysterious power seen as sacred rather than practical. Not everyone is convinced. Many scholars argue the jars may simply have been storage vessels, perhaps for scrolls or sacred documents. The copper and iron could have been structural rather than functional. After all, no wires or connectors were found with the jars, and without a circuit, their electrical potential would have been limited. Experimental archaeologists have recreated the Baghdad batteries, filling them with vinegar or grape juice, and found they can generate about 1 volt each, enough to give a mild tingle, but not enough to power any meaningful device. For critics, this suggests that if they were batteries at all, their use was symbolic or experimental, not practical. The mystery deepens when we consider context. The Parthians were excellent builders and warriors, but they left no written record of electrical experiments. No inscriptions, no diagrams, no accounts of strange devices. The jars stand alone, isolated, with no clear explanation. And yet, it is hard to dismiss their uncanny resemblance to modern batteries. The possibility that an ancient culture stumbled upon a scientific principle thousands of years before it was rediscovered cannot be entirely ignored. Some researchers have pushed the idea further into speculation. They argue that the Baghdad Battery could be evidence of knowledge passed down from a lost civilization, or even from contact with beings beyond our world. Ancient astronaut theorists have claimed that electricity was given to humanity in fragments, explaining anomalies like the Great Pyramid's alignment or the precision of certain artifacts. While mainstream scholars reject these claims as pseudoscience, The allure of the Baghdad Battery lies in its refusal to fit neatly into our timeline of progress. Today, replicas of the Baghdad Battery can be found in science museums around the world. Visitors are often astonished when a simple clay jar with copper and iron produces a spark of light. It is a tangible reminder that history is not always a straight line of invention, but a tapestry of discoveries, some forgotten, some rediscovered, and some still shrouded in mystery. Whether the jars were practical tools, ritual curiosities, or misunderstood artifacts, they continue to inspire wonder. Most archaeologists today lean toward a cautious explanation that the Baghdad Battery may have been a simple storage jar, perhaps adapted in some cases to create an electrical effect, but not evidence of widespread ancient electricity. Still, the debate remains open, because the jars do not fully reveal their purpose. They sit at the intersection of archaeology and imagination, symbols of how much of our past still lies in shadow. The Codex Gigas and the Voynich Manuscript showed us mysteries bound in books, secrets written and illustrated but never fully explained. The Baghdad Battery reminds us that sometimes the most puzzling mysteries come in the form of simple objects whose purpose has been lost across the centuries. And now, from clay jars that may have once sparked with power, we turn to a different kind of spark, a map that seems to chart the world with impossible accuracy. In 1513, an Ottoman admiral drew coastlines no European should have known, including what looks like Antarctica, centuries before it was discovered. The mystery of the Piri Reis Map is next. In 1929, scholars working in the Topkapi Palace of Istanbul stumbled upon a fragment of parchment that would ignite nearly a century of speculation. It was a map, drawn on gazelle skin, dated to 1513, and signed by an Ottoman admiral named Piri Reis. At first glance, it seemed to show the familiar outlines of Europe, Africa, and parts of South America. But as researchers studied it closer, they realized something was very wrong. This was not just a routine map, it was a puzzle that challenged our very understanding of history. Piri Reis himself was no ordinary cartographer. Born in the late 15th century, he was a skilled naval commander and explorer who combined his sailing knowledge with a passion for collecting geographical information. He compiled data from Portuguese maps, Arab charts, and even, as he claimed in his own notes, a map drawn by Columbus. Yet the Piri Reis map displayed a precision that was baffling for its time. Coastlines were sketched with astonishing accuracy that should have been impossible. In 1513, long before advanced navigational instruments or satellites existed, the most controversial detail lies at the bottom of the parchment. Alongside South America, the map appears to depict a vast icy coastline. Some have interpreted this as Antarctica, drawn not as it looks today, buried beneath miles of ice, but as a mostly ice-free landmass. If true, it suggests knowledge of Antarctica thousands of years before its official discovery in 1820. And even more strange, if the depiction really is Antarctica without its thick ice cover, it would mean whoever made the original source maps had access to geographic data dating back to a prehistoric time, before glaciers locked the continent away. Scholars debated these findings intensely. Mainstream historians argue that the so-called Antarctica on the map is more likely a distorted drawing of South America, stretched too far south. After all, map makers of the time often struggled to scale and projection, but others remain unconvinced. The map's level of detail in some places, especially the accurate positioning of the African and South American coasts, suggests a level of cartographic sophistication that seems to leap ahead of its era. Piri Reis himself admitted in the notes written on the map that he had not created it from scratch. Instead, he pieced it together from older charts and documents, some of which he claimed dated back to the time of Alexander the Great. Imagine that, ancient source material, copied and recopied over centuries, somehow preserved, until they reached the hands of an Ottoman admiral in the 16th century. Could it be that fragments of an advanced but forgotten cartographic tradition had survived, only to vanish once again? This idea has fascinated alternative historians. Some suggest the original maps were produced by a long-lost seafaring civilization, capable of global exploration long before the rise of Egypt, Sumer, or Greece. Others push the theory even further, proposing that the knowledge came not from humans at all, but from beings outside our world. Ancient astronaut theorists point to the eerie accuracy of the coastlines as evidence of advanced surveying methods that could not have existed before satellites and aerial photography. Mainstream science, however, approaches the map with more caution. Oceanographers and cartographers note that while some sections seem startlingly accurate, others are riddled with errors. Parts of South America are misshapen, and the scale is inconsistent. This has led many to argue that what we are seeing is a mixture, some regions preserved with surprising precision from ancient sources, others distorted by the limitations of medieval copying and guesswork. The Antarctica debate in particular remains unsettled. Modern glaciology shows that Antarctica has been ice-covered for at least several million years. If the map truly shows it without ice, it would contradict everything we know from geology and climate science. And yet, there is still the unsettling sense that the Piri Reis Map should not exist in its current form. For one thing, it suggests that sailors in the early 16th century had knowledge of South America's coastline long before it was fully explored. It even includes details of inland rivers, features that would not have been mapped until much later. For another, the idea that Piri Reis relied on maps from the time of Alexander hints at a tradition of geographic knowledge we barely understand. Where did these maps come from? Who created them? And how did they preserve details that still trouble experts today? The Piri Reis Map has since become a magnet for mystery enthusiasts, historians, and conspiracy theorists alike. Some see it as proof of forgotten civilizations like Atlantis, whose navigators may have charted the globe thousands of years earlier. Others see it as a cautionary tale, a reminder of how easy it is to read too much into imperfect evidence. The truth may be somewhere in between. Perhaps the map is a genuine blend of old data and creative guesswork, reflecting both the brilliance and the limits of early cartography. What cannot be denied is the enduring fascination of this single piece of gazelle skin. Nearly 5 centuries after Piri Reis stitched together his sources, we are still asking the same questions. Did he preserve a memory of lands known to ancient peoples? Or are we simply projecting our modern imagination onto a flawed but remarkable artifact? One thing is certain, the Piri Reis Map remains one of history's great cartographic enigmas, a reminder that even the most ordinary objects, like a parchment map tucked away in a palace, can hold mysteries that defy easy answers. In the heart of the Pacific, on the windswept island of Rapa Nui, an enigma carved in wood has baffled scholars for centuries, the mysterious Rongorongo script. Unlike the towering Moai statues that gaze silently over the island's landscape, Rongorongo whispers, secrets lost to time, a script no one has fully deciphered. Rongorongo was first documented in the 19th century by European explorers who stumbled upon wooden tablets etched with strange symbols, swirling lines, humanoid shapes, animals, and geometric patterns. The islanders themselves had nearly forgotten their meaning, a casualty of cultural upheaval following European contact and missionary influence. The tablets were rare and fragile, believed to have been sacred objects or mnemonic devices. Scholars debated whether Rongorongo represented a true writing system or something more symbolic, a form of proto-writing or ritual record-keeping. Each Rongorongo tablet is covered with elegant, flowing glyphs arranged in horizontal lines, but the text is meant to be read in a unique boustrophedon style, alternating direction every line, requiring the reader to flip the tablet back and forth. The glyphs are intricate, depicting stylized animals, plants, humans, and abstract shapes. Despite painstaking efforts by linguists and cryptographers, no definitive breakthrough has been made. The tablets remain undeciphered, a silent code from a vanished culture. Scholars propose many theories. Rongorongo might be a calendar system, a religious text, or a mnemonic for oral histories. Some suggest it could represent a lost writing system invented independently by the Rapa Nui, while others think it might have connections to other ancient scripts. However, the loss of fluent readers, the scarcity of tablets, and the lack of bilingual texts make deciphering nearly impossible. Colonialism, disease, and cultural suppression destroyed much of the oral tradition that could have unlocked the code. Today, Rongorongo stands as a poignant symbol of lost knowledge, a reminder of the fragility of culture, the profound impact of colonial disruption. Some modern Rapa Nui scholars and artists work to preserve and honor these mysterious tablets, blending ancient heritage with contemporary identity. Efforts continue worldwide to decode Rongorongo, using modern technology and cross-disciplinary research, but the script's true meaning remains locked in silence, a haunting echo of an island's past. From carved stones to mysterious wooden glyphs, Easter Island's past continues to reveal secrets, but across the world, high above the Peruvian desert, vast lines etched into the earth stretch skyward, inviting us to decode messages from another ancient civilization. In the next segment, we unravel. Stretching across the arid plains of southern Peru, a sprawling network of colossal geoglyphs emerges under the vast sky, the Nazca Lines. These enormous patterns, best seen from the air, depict animals, plants, and abstract shapes etched into the earth thousands of years ago. For centuries, their purpose baffled explorers and scientists alike. How did an ancient civilization create such precise giant artworks without the ability to view them from above? And why? The Nazca Lines first caught widespread attention in the 1920s, when pilots flying over the desert marveled at the strange images below. Yet these drawings date back to between 500 BCE and 500 CE, created by the Nazca culture, a mysterious pre-Incan society. The lines were made by removing the dark oxidized surface stones, revealing lighter soil beneath. What's remarkable is their scale. Some lines stretch for miles, while figures like the spider, condor, and heron are so large they span hundreds of feet. Creating these massive designs without aerial perspective was an extraordinary feat. Archaeologists believe the Nazca used a system of stakes and ropes to map out the shapes on the ground accurately. Surveying tools, simple yet effective, allowed them to scale small sketches into vast desert canvases. Some lines are perfectly straight for miles, cutting across hills and valleys, while others form spirals in complex geometric shapes. This precision hints at sophisticated planning, far beyond mere decoration. Scholars have long debated the meaning behind the Nazca Lines. Some suggest they were astronomical calendars, aligned with solstices and celestial bodies, serving religious or agricultural purposes. Others believe the lines were ritual pathways for ceremonies honoring deities, linked to water and fertility, crucial elements in the desert environment. Some geoglyphs depict animals sacred in Nazca culture, possibly serving as offerings or symbols of protection. A more controversial theory posits the lines as ancient landing strips for extraterrestrials, a popular idea in fringe circles but lacking credible evidence. Despite their age, the Nazca Lines remain remarkably well preserved thanks to the dry, windless climate. However, modern threats like tourism, mining, and urban expansion pose risks. Scientists employ satellite imagery, drones, and 3D modeling to study the lines without disturbing them, revealing new details and deepening our understanding of this ancient mystery. The Nazca Lines stand as an enduring testament to human ingenuity, faith, and connection to the cosmos, an open-air library carved in earth and stone. If you're fascinated by the mysteries of ancient civilizations, don't forget to like and subscribe for more journeys into the past. Next time, we'll venture to the icy Arctic, uncovering the chilling story of a lost expedition, the Franklin Expedition Shipwreck Mystery. In the cradle of civilization, nestled between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, lies one of history's oldest and most puzzling documents, the Sumerian King List. This ancient manuscript, carved into clay tablets, names kings who ruled for thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of years. Such fantastical reigns challenge everything we know about human history and time itself. How could kings rule for millennia? Were these literal records, symbolic myths, or something else entirely? The King List blurs the lines between legend and reality, revealing a glimpse into the mindset of early civilizations trying to understand their origins. Unearthed during excavations in the early 20th century in modern-day Iraq, the Sumerian King List is a remarkable blend of myth, history, and propaganda. The oldest tablets date back to roughly 2100 BCE, though the traditions it records likely reach deeper into oral histories. This text isn't a straightforward chronicle. Instead, it divides kings into two broad eras, those who ruled before a great flood and those who ruled after. Pre-flood kings have reigns that stretch from thousands to tens of thousands of years, while post-flood kings' reigns become more believable, lasting decades or a few centuries. The King List names rulers, their cities, and astonishingly long reigns. For instance, Alulim, the very first king listed, is said to have ruled for 28,800 years. Others reportedly reigned for 36,000 years or more. The cities they ruled, Eridu, Uruk, Ur, were powerful centers of early civilization. While some rulers on the list align with archaeological finds, many remain purely mythical. The list may have been used to legitimize reigning dynasties by linking them to divine or legendary figures, merging theology with governance. A cataclysmic flood divides the King List's timeline, a story mirrored in many ancient myths, including the Epic of Gilgamesh and later biblical tales. The flood marks a boundary between divine or semi-divine rulers and human kings. Scholars believe this flood could represent real catastrophic flooding events in Mesopotamia or serve as a powerful symbolic reset. The pre-flood kings might be mythic heroes or deities, highlighting how ancient people intertwined history with spiritual meaning. Modern scholars view the Sumerian king list as a fascinating mix of mythology, political narrative, and historical record. While some fringe theories propose lost ancient civilizations or alien influences, mainstream research sees it as early humankind's attempt to make sense of power, time, and divine authority. The list remains a powerful reminder of how history and myth shape cultural memory, a legacy encoded in clay that still sparks debate and wonder today. From the fertile riverbanks of ancient Mesopotamia to the mysterious lines etched in desert sands, human civilizations have left incredible legacies, stories carved in stone, clay, and earth. Next, we travel south to the Peruvian desert to explore the enigmatic. Deep in the heart of China's Jiang province lies a secret that has baffled archaeologists and historians since its discovery in 1992, the Longyou Caves. These vast underground caverns are not natural formations, but intricately hand-carved chambers sprawling across tens of thousands of square feet. They seem to defy time, technology, and logic. When local villagers drained a small pond for irrigation, they found an entrance to an enormous hidden cave beneath the water. This chance discovery opened a door to an underground world that was previously unknown. What is astonishing is not just their scale. Some chambers measure over 30 meters wide and 20 meters tall, but the perfect precision and craftsmanship of the caves, carved entirely by hand, without any known tools or records to explain their creation. Who built these monumental underground chambers? Why did they go to such lengths to carve and decorate walls with repetitive patterns? And how did these caves escape notice for thousands of years, hidden in plain sight beneath the earth? The Longyou Caves remain one of the world's most extraordinary and unexplained archaeological enigmas. The story of the Longyou Caves discovery is almost as mysterious as the caves themselves. In 1992, a man named Wu Anai drained a small fish pond near the village of Xianbeikun. Instead of revealing mud, he uncovered a large man-made cavern beneath the water's surface. Soon, divers and archaeologists were brought in to explore this underground labyrinth. What they found was astonishing. Not just one cavern, but 9 enormous caverns, all hand-carved into the bedrock. Each chamber covers thousands of square meters, with ceilings reaching heights that rival modern buildings. Even more baffling was the uniform pattern etched on every wall and pillar, a series of precise parallel lines, cut with such consistency that scientists still debate how ancient workers achieved this with primitive tools. There were no visible tool marks that match known chiseling or carving methods. The caves had no debris or signs of excavation nearby, and there are no historical texts or inscriptions explaining who built them or for what purpose. Researchers estimate that the total volume of rock excavated to create these caverns exceeds 30,000 cubic meters, an incredible feat considering it was done entirely by hand, centuries before modern engineering. This lack of documentation, combined with the impressive scale and precision of the caves, leaves many questions unanswered. Were these caves part of a forgotten civilization? Could they be remnants of an ancient temple or an underground city? The engineering behind the Longyou Caves is nothing short of miraculous. The walls, ceilings, and pillars display uniform, parallel grooves that create a mesmerizing optical effect, almost as if the caves were sculpted with laser precision. Experts remain puzzled about how ancient workers maintained such perfect lines across such vast areas, especially underground with limited light and no modern measuring tools. The cave's structural stability is equally impressive. Despite centuries underground, there is no evidence of significant collapse, erosion, or structural failure. The chambers appear engineered to withstand the pressures of the earth above, suggesting a sophisticated understanding of geology and construction. Adding to the mystery, there are no traces of tool marks consistent with chisels, picks, or other hand tools. Some researchers speculate the workers may have used now-lost techniques, possibly involving water erosion or polishing methods. Others propose that the cave's creators employed a form of technology or knowledge long forgotten. What purpose could have driven such an enormous project? Were these caves used as secret hideouts, ceremonial temples, burial chambers, or even ancient quarries? Countless theories have emerged attempting to explain the Longyou Caves, from the plausible to the extraordinary. Some archaeologists suggest the caves may have been quarries used to extract stone for ancient constructions, later repurposed as underground spaces. However, no stone debris or extraction waste has ever been found around the caves, weakening this idea. Others believe they were ceremonial or religious sites, possibly used for rituals or as underground temples dedicated to unknown deities. The carefully carved walls and uniform patterns may have had symbolic or spiritual significance. More fringe theories propose that the caves were constructed by an advanced, lost civilization, with technology far beyond their time, or even by extraterrestrial visitors. While these ideas captivate the imagination, they lack solid evidence. The absence of any historical records mentioning the caves fuels the mystery. No known ancient texts or local legends speak of their creation or use, as if the caves were deliberately erased from history or built in secret. Today, the Longyou Caves are protected as cultural heritage sites. Modern archaeologists use advanced technology, including 3D laser scanning, geological analysis, and digital modeling, to study and preserve the caves without damaging them. These studies continue to reveal subtle details, like microscopic wear patterns on walls and soil samples that hint at ancient environmental conditions. Yet, despite these advances, the origins and purpose of the caves remain elusive. Limited public access preserves the caves' mystery, inviting curiosity and speculation. The Longyou Caves challenge our understanding of ancient human ingenuity, engineering, and history, reminding us that much of the past still lies hidden, waiting to be discovered. If ancient mysteries like the Longyou Caves fascinate you, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Join our journey as we uncover the world's most astonishing secrets, each episode revealing a new wonder that challenges what we think we know about history. Your support helps us bring these incredible stories to life every week. From the silent depths beneath China's earth, we'll soar high above Peru's desert to explore gigantic figures etched into the land, the mysterious Nazca Lines, messages to the sky. Deep within museums and private collections around the world lie mysterious artifacts that have captured imaginations for centuries. The crystal skulls. These intricately carved skulls, made from pure quartz crystal, vary in size and detail, some small enough to hold in your hand, others nearly life-sized. Their origins are debated fiercely. Are they ancient relics from lost civilizations, possessing advanced technology, or simply clever modern forgeries? Stories about crystal skulls swirl with mysticism, prophecies, and supernatural powers. Some claim these skulls hold encoded knowledge or even healing abilities, passed down by advanced civilizations like the Maya or Atlantis. Yet skeptics argue the skulls are modern creations, cleverly crafted in the 19th or 20th centuries, designed to captivate and confuse. The truth behind the crystal skulls remains elusive, sparking fascination, controversy, and wonder. How did ancient artisans, if truly ancient, achieve such precise carvings on an incredibly hard mineral like quartz without modern tools? Could these skulls really be keys to forgotten technology or cosmic wisdom? Or are they simply elaborate hoaxes? Let's unravel the mystery of the crystal skulls, a story of archaeology, art, and human imagination. The most famous crystal skull is the Mitchell-Hedges skull, reportedly found in the 1920s by explorer Fa Mitchell-Hedges during an excavation in Belize's ancient Mayan city of Lubantun. According to Mitchell-Hedges, the skull was discovered buried beneath a stone altar, untouched for centuries. This skull, carved with striking detail and almost lifelike features, became the centerpiece of many claims about ancient advanced civilizations. Other crystal skulls surfaced in the 19th and early 20th centuries, often sold to collectors and museums. Many were attributed to pre-Columbian Mesoamerican cultures, including the Aztec and Maya. But there is no concrete archaeological evidence to support these claims, as none were ever documented during official digs. Many researchers now believe most crystal skulls originated in Europe in the 1800s, created with early rotary tools popularized during the Industrial Revolution. The absence of any documented indigenous production methods or historical mentions of these skulls in Mesoamerican cultures raises doubts. Still, legends persist about their supposed powers and mystical significance, often fueled by popular culture, films, and New Age spiritual movements. Modern scientific testing has shed light on the true nature of these skulls. Using microscopes and electron scanners, researchers examined the surface of several famous crystal skulls, including the Mitchell-Hedges. The findings were revealing. Microscopic analysis shows rotary drill marks, consistent with modern tools rather than ancient hand-carving techniques. Some skulls have polishing marks from diamond-tipped instruments that were unavailable to pre-Columbian cultures. Dating methods also failed to find any traceable age for the skulls themselves. The quartz crystal is timeless, and the carving techniques are modern. This strongly suggests the skulls are relatively recent creations, crafted in the last 200 years or so. Despite these conclusions, some enthusiasts argue that scientific testing misses the spiritual or metaphysical essence of the skulls, claiming technology alone cannot explain their powers. Regardless of their origin, crystal skulls have become powerful symbols in popular culture and spirituality. They appear in films, novels, and conspiracy theories, often portrayed as keys to hidden knowledge, cosmic secrets, or alien technology. New Age circles often claim the skulls can activate latent psychic abilities, serve as healing tools, or even act as communication devices for extraterrestrials. Workshops and seminars offer teachings based on crystal skull energy, attracting followers worldwide. The allure lies in their mystery. These skulls seem to bridge the gap between ancient history and futuristic possibilities. They remind us how artifacts can become vessels for human hopes, fears, and imagination. Whether ancient relics or modern creations, crystal skulls challenge our understanding of history, technology, and myth. If you're fascinated by mysteries that blur the line between fact and legend, make sure to like and subscribe. Your support keeps these incredible stories coming. Next, we'll travel to the deserts of Peru to explore colossal designs etched in the earth, the Nazca Lines, messages to the sky. In the early morning hours of June 30th, 1908, a massive explosion shook the remote Siberian taiga near the Podkamennaya Tunguska River. Witnesses hundreds of miles away reported a brilliant flash, brighter than the sun, followed by a powerful shockwave that flattened an estimated 80 million trees across 2,150 square kilometers, an area larger than the state of Rhode Island. Yet, astonishingly, no impact crater was ever found. This mysterious explosion, known simply as the Tunguska event, remains one of the greatest unsolved natural phenomena in modern history. What caused this massive blast that leveled a vast forest without leaving a trace of a meteorite? Was it a comet, a meteor, or something far stranger? The Tunguska event ignited decades of investigation, speculation, and conspiracy theories, sparking our curiosity about the dangers lurking in our cosmic backyard. Eyewitness reports from native Evenki tribes and Russian settlers describe a sudden, intense fireball streaking across the sky, followed by a deafening explosion that knocked people off their feet miles away. Windows shattered hundreds of kilometers away, and the sky glowed with fiery colors for days. Yet, search parties sent in the years after found no crater, a mystery that puzzled scientists. Instead, the evidence pointed to an aerial explosion about 5 to 10 kilometers above ground, releasing energy equivalent to 10 to 15 megatons of TNT, roughly 1,000 times the Hiroshima atomic bomb. This airburst phenomenon explained why no impact crater was present. The object exploded midair, releasing a massive shockwave that devastated the forest below, but the identity of this cosmic intruder remained unclear. The first major expedition to the site came in 1927, led by Soviet scientist Leonid Kulik. Despite logistical challenges in the remote wilderness, Kulik's team documented the vast area of destruction but failed to locate any meteorite fragments. Subsequent scientific investigations hypothesized the object was a comet or stony meteorite that disintegrated in the atmosphere, scattering microscopic particles rather than large chunks. Studies of soil and tree resin showed traces of extraterrestrial material consistent with cosmic dust. More recent research using satellite data and seismic readings confirmed the immense energy released but left questions about the object's composition and origin. Was it a fragment of a comet's icy core or a rare asteroid with unusual properties? Over the years, alternative theories emerged to explain Tunguska's unique characteristics. Some speculated it was a secret weapons test gone wrong, or even an alien spacecraft exploding in midair. Others proposed natural gas explosions from the Earth's crust. While intriguing, these theories lack solid evidence and remain fringe ideas. The scientific consensus favors an asteroid or comet airburst, a natural cosmic hazard humanity is still vulnerable to. What makes Tunguska particularly important is that it serves as a stark warning. Even relatively small space objects can unleash devastating power without warning. Today, astronomers vigilantly track near-Earth objects to prevent a similar catastrophe. The Tunguska event reshaped our understanding of cosmic threats and inspired a wave of scientific monitoring programs. It remains a symbol of nature's unpredictable power and the fragile line between normalcy and disaster. Its mystery also fuels the human fascination with the unknown, reminding us that Earth's story is shaped not just by human actions, but by forces beyond our planet. Curious about enigmatic ancient underground worlds? Next, we'll delve into the Longyou Caves, a massive underground complex carved millennia ago, baffling archaeologists to this day. If you love unraveling mysteries like Tunguska, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay hooked on these incredible stories. Imagine a town where people dance uncontrollably, day after day, unable to stop, even as exhaustion, injury, and death loom. This bizarre phenomenon truly happened in July 1518 in Strasbourg, then part of the Holy Roman Empire. It started with a single woman stepping into the street and dancing fervently. Within days, dozens joined her in what became known as the Dancing Plague, a strange epidemic that lasted for weeks and baffled authorities, doctors, and historians alike. What could cause such a strange outbreak? Was it a case of mass hysteria, a neurological disorder, or something even more mysterious? The Dancing Plague of 1518 remains one of history's most baffling and fascinating collective behaviors. The outbreak began in July 1518 when Frau Trofea, a local woman, suddenly started dancing non-stop in the streets. Authorities initially thought it was a harmless eccentricity, but soon dozens of others were caught up in the strange compulsion. Estimates say between 50 and 400 people participated over several weeks. Town leaders, desperate to end the madness, called in physicians who prescribed rest and remedies like bloodletting and purging. Others believed dancing was contagious and tried to contain the dancers, but efforts failed. The community even set up a stage and musicians, thinking the only cure was to dance it out, a decision that tragically worsened the epidemic. Chroniclers of the time wrote about dancers collapsing from exhaustion or stroke, with some reportedly dying from heart attacks or dehydration. Over the centuries, historians and scientists have proposed various explanations. One leading theory suggests it was a form of mass psychogenic illness, an outbreak of collective hysteria caused by extreme stress, poverty, and famine. In 1518, the region faced harsh conditions, crop failures, disease outbreaks, and religious tensions created a fertile ground for psychological distress. Dancing was possibly a way for people to cope with overwhelming anxiety and despair. Others propose neurological explanations like ergot poisoning, caused by a toxic mold on rye bread that can induce hallucinations and convulsions. However, ergotism symptoms don't fully match the documented behavior of the dancers. Some even speculate spiritual or supernatural forces at play, as dancing plagues were recorded in other parts of Europe in earlier centuries. The Dancing Plague left an indelible mark on European history. It highlighted how collective psychological phenomena could manifest physically and how fragile social order can be under pressure. It also influenced cultural works and folklore, inspiring eerie tales of cursed dances and haunted streets. Scholars study it as a window into the complexities of human psychology, social stress, and community response. Despite its strangeness, the plague reminds us how interconnected mind and body are, and how social environments can trigger extraordinary behaviors. From strange plagues that move crowds involuntarily to massive ground designs that baffle archaeologists, our journey continues. Next, we explore the Nazca Lines, giant geoglyphs etched into the desert, possibly messages to the sky. If you're captivated by these unusual tales of history, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay hooked on the mystery. On a small island off the coast of Nova Scotia, Canada, lies one of the greatest treasure mysteries of all time, the Oak Island Money Pit. For over 2 centuries, countless treasure hunters have tried to uncover its secrets, digging deep into the earth in search of unimaginable riches rumored to be buried beneath. But the deeper they dig, the more the pit seems to fight back, flooding chambers, hidden traps, and cryptic clues that have confounded experts and adventurers alike. Is the Money Pit a genuine cache of lost treasure, or just a cleverly designed endless trap? This mysterious hole has inspired legends of pirates, the Knights Templar, and even Shakespearean secrets. Join us as we explore the history, theories, and ongoing quest to unlock the Oak Island enigma. The story begins in 1795, when a teenager named Daniel M.C. Ginnis stumbled upon a depression in the ground while exploring Oak Island. Curious, he and 2 friends began digging and quickly uncovered a layer of logs, about 3 feet down, a sign that something had been deliberately buried. As they dug deeper, they found more layers of logs and charcoal, indicating a complex structure. By the early 1800s, more formal excavations began, uncovering wooden platforms every 10 feet and a mysterious flood tunnel that filled the pit with seawater whenever they dug too deep. Despite many attempts, no definitive treasure was found, but tantalizing clues like stone tablets, old coins, and metal artifacts fueled speculation that something valuable was hidden beneath. Theories about the pit's origins abound. Some believe it's the lost treasure of the infamous pirate Captain Kidd, while others suggest the Knights Templar hid sacred relics there during their mysterious European escapades. Another popular idea links the money pit to the Holy Grail, or even Shakespeare's lost manuscripts. The complex engineering of flood tunnels and wooden platforms hints at a highly skilled construction, far beyond a simple treasure burying. Skeptics argue it might be a natural sinkhole or an elaborate hoax meant to lure treasure seekers. Yet the persistence of unexplained artifacts keeps the mystery alive. In recent decades, modern technology, like sonar scanning, drilling machines, and underwater robots have probed the depths of Oak Island. Teams like those featured in popular TV series continue excavations, discovering more artifacts such as stone markers and metal tools. Despite the wealth of evidence, the ultimate prize remains elusive. Flooding tunnels continue to frustrate efforts, and many experts believe the pit might never yield its secrets, or worse, the treasure never existed at all. Yet the island's allure persists, fueled by human fascination with hidden riches and unsolved puzzles. The Oak Island Money Pit has become a symbol of enduring mystery and human perseverance. Whether it's treasure or trickery, the pit challenges our understanding of history, engineering, and the power of legend. It reminds us that some secrets, no matter how deeply buried, continue to captivate our imaginations and inspire daring exploration. Next, we journey from mysterious pits to ancient skies, exploring the enigmatic Nazca Lines, massive geoglyphs whose purpose still puzzles experts. If you love unraveling secrets buried in history, don't forget to like and subscribe to keep exploring the world's greatest mysteries with us.